everyone, I'm Susie Ann Boyd. We welcome David Iverson, the Managing Director and Head of Consumer Food and Retail for Lazard. So tell me a little bit about what you do.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi.
Well, at Lazard, we try to advise entrepreneurs and companies and private equity groups when they're ready to do something generational with their companies. So often it's an entrepreneur has built their company up to a certain level and they're ready to think about the next step. Maybe it's a sale, maybe it's an equity raise. We advise them purely on that transaction, the best way to do it. We negotiate for them and we end up selling them or getting an outcome for them in that regard.
What are some of the biggest challenges in those deals?
You know, I'll tell you, it's in this market, ironically, one of the bigger things that's happening on the food side and in consumer in general is valuations are super high. And so people are going into these with expectations that are outrageous, which means they're priced to perfection. And so even though we've got a really robust market today, I think people are finding it a little more challenging to get deals done than they should be because of that. Other things that are big factors are company performance. A lot of times, especially when you're working with an entrepreneurial company, they are not in the business of projecting their performance out. And so we go through a long process with them, project their performance. That performance affects a lot of valuation. So that's a second factor. A third factor that I would say can have an influence or impacts these processes is what the owner wants to do. If it's a professionalized company, it's an easier situation, but often, and for some of the folks we had on the panel today, they are all very instrumental to their company. And when they're going, and in the case of one of our panelists today who's built this business from the ground up, it's his heart and soul. Yeah. And so how do you move on to a new owner, and how do you give comfort to the new owner that things aren't going to change when this entrepreneur goes away?
Well, those are some of the integration issues that you have to deal with, correct?
Those are some of the valuation issues that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
A lot of the integration becomes, they'll try to figure that out in advance.
On the back end.
But it's a lot of the process and valuation issues is what's happening to the entrepreneur, for example, and how do I factor that into my decision to buy this company or invest in it.
Right. Online shopping, obviously huge right now. A lot of these companies I'm sure that you're dealing with are brick and mortar. Are there any talks about that disruption from the online world to these brick and mortar companies?
Yeah, I would call it, for most companies, a really big deal. On the food side of the spectrum, most food has not moved online. It remains a very small portion of the business. On some other areas it's bigger, but for sure there's a big push and a big thought process around where does the future of our company look. Is it virtual or is it brick and mortar?
The future of the industry too, I'm sure.
For sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you,
It was
Suzanne.
Nice to meet you. I appreciate it.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you.